Welcome to Chakra Chats with Patty Kikos. Thank you for joining me today. I'm very excited to introduce you to my beautiful friend Katie Manitsas. Katie Manitsas was the director of Jivamukti Yoga Sydney for many years, but is now handed over to advanced certified Jivamukti yoga teacher Doug Whitaker so that she can focus on her young family, her passion for activism, and her studies. Katie was the first certified advanced Jivamukti yoga teacher in Australia and has also studied extensively with the Wise Earth School of Ayurveda under the guidance of Mother Maya, as well as being a qualified kundalini yoga teacher. She completed training as a doula, a birthing companion, in 2009. Katie grew up in the English countryside, surrounded by nature and animals, and at the age of 10 became a vegetarian. Katie's first yoga teacher, who has now left his body, was an elderly gentleman from the Bahamas who taught classes in the local community centre of the village where she lived. She started attending those classes at 12 years of age and has been doing the very best she can to practice yoga every day since. Katie is a writer for various publications and has had 3 books published: Spiritual Survival and the City, Yoga Off the Mat, and The Yoga of Birth. Katie is the mother of 3 young boys and lives in Sydney's inner west. I feel very blessed to have Katie as part of the Chakra Chat series, especially because she was so instrumental to my yoga journey at the very beginning. And I also think she's got some incredible tips to share with us regarding the energy centre that helps us with our drive, our will, and our confidence. Not only does Katie embody the balanced solar plexus archetype, she's also overcome quite a bit of adversity with her own life, and I know that she has a lot of medicine to share with us. Hello, Katie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad you said that I embody the balanced solar plexus archetype. I don't always feel like that, but that's an awesome introduction. Thank you.
Well, I think that you do, especially because you have been very generous in sharing a lot of your own life and a lot of the obstacles you've overcome, which I think is very inspiring for all of us, especially as yoga teachers and healers. We don't always have to have it together. In fact, a lot of the lesson and the learning comes from messiness, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And actually, I think, my sort of guiding principle as a teacher has always been to be completely transparent, because I just don't think you can teach from an authentic place. And I think where many teachers become unstuck is when they feel that they have to have a particular persona and then there's other stuff happening behind the scenes, whether that's physical or emotional. You just can't teach authentically from that place. But at the same time, it's a balance, because there's a level of professionalism and there's also a level of what's appropriate to share. And so striking that balance sometimes can be quite an interesting dialogue to have with yourself.
And to share as well. It was one of my lessons, actually, when I became a yoga teacher, because I came from the background of being a social worker. So there was an element of almost staunchness, of that stiff upper lip of I had to have it together to hold the space for somebody else. But actually what made me authentic, and what makes me authentic as both a teacher and a healer, are my stories. The messiness, the stuff that I didn't get right the first time, the stuff that I still might be learning or struggling with now. And I think that's that's what makes me authentic. And, it makes it a lot easier to teach, because you're coming from a real place. You're not coming from a space of I've got it all together. And, if you want to practice every day, you'll be just like me. It's nothing like that. Yeah.
And I've found too that sometimes some of the best classes I've taught, some of the best work I've written has come out of me being in quite a vulnerable place. Because when you're more vulnerable and a bit more raw, there is an authenticity there that often is missing in everyday life. Because of our culture, our society is very much about putting a brave face on things. So if you sort of, in the absence of that, the truth shines out.
Very, very much so. And I know that you and I have bonded over our shared love of yoga, Ayurveda, and of course puppy dogs. And
is he there?
Yes, he is. No, he actually heard your voice and came out. He's right next to me. For those that don't know, my beloved Rufus was initially Katie's dog before he became mine. Before he was terrorised by
him?
Katie's. Absolutely.
Yeah, by my children who just, yeah.
Rufus, ready, up. Well, hello.
Oh, Ruru. Hello, Baba.
Do you remember?
Hello. Oh, he does. Look, his ears are back. Sweet pea. I'm sorry about all those children I had.
Your children are the reason that I can't leave him unattended with my niece and nephew.
Yeah,
He was terrorised.
Just to be clear, my children didn't do anything awful to him. They just don't really get on.
Yes, this is true. This is true. It's just about them being boisterous and him being a little bit aging and ailing. So, yeah.
Yeah, him being used to having one-on-one attention from a devoted female.
Right. So he chose me well, didn't he?
He did.
Speaking of a strong solar plexus, he certainly knows what he wants and how to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I often actually think about Rufus and my mum and dad's pet cockatiel, who weighs, I don't know, like maybe 20 grams, and how Nikita, has my mum and dad wrapped around her little finger. And every time I feel like I'm not good enough, or, you know, can I do this? Am I enough? Am I good enough? I think of Nikita, who weighs 20 grams and lives the life that she wants, much like Rufus, who weighs 5.5 kilos. I think if they can do it, you know, surely I can.
Yeah. Well, you know what one of the lessons is there, because I have reflected on this too in terms of babies who are so tiny and yet manage to demand so much of everything. And I'm convinced that a lot of it is non-verbal communication. Right. You know, we talk and we talk and we talk. We have so much to say and we explain and we justify, and there's like conversation happening around things, sometimes for months, with particular people on particular subjects, those stories that we go back to again, and our parents are perfect examples. But when we find quiet and we communicate in ways that are non-verbal through our actions, no one can argue with that. There's no arguing.
It's the fire in the belly, isn't it?
Babies and animals, you just see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're more in sync with nature as well.